Alright, what it do, tube? We out here for the last part of I guess the hardest install I'm gonna be doing. We done took care of the radiator, the thermostat, we done took care of the tune-up, spark plugs, ignition coil, PCV valve. I'm actually upstairs cleaning my air filter for my engine cold air intake. So we gonna finish getting to that. But we got the goods going right now. Um, let's get it, man. The hardest part, let's get this ABS popping. So the first thing we're gonna do when we want to get it started, you see I got my vacuum pump. We're gonna go in and we are going to bleed the brake booster. We're gonna get all the juice, all the old fluid up out of there. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna get the vacuum pump in there, get that started. Once we bleed the brake booster, then we're gonna go to the back right hand side of the car, the back passenger side, which is the farthest brake caliper away from the brake booster, and we're gonna bleed that one. Then we're gonna go to the rear driver's side, boom, over here, and then we're gonna bleed that brake caliper, and then we're gonna change the brake lines to the steel braided joints, the stainless steel joints. So I give y'all that one too, man. Let me keep y'all in the loop, but let's get it started. Alright, what do you do, too? We back on here. So first thing we're gonna do now, we got a towel down just to catch any leaking fluids on the way out. But what you're gonna do, take off the cap to your brake booster. There we go. Actually need to clean this joint out. Try to get in there and clean it as best as possible, even before we really. So now what we're doing is taking that. Make sure you want to slide it down in there to get that brake fluid. And what we're gonna do is grab your gun and should start sucking out brake fluid immediately. Look at that, old, dirty, brown. There we go. So I'm just getting all the brake fluid out. See if y'all can see that. So we getting it out. I'll get back to y'all. Alright, so what we want too, as soon as we're finished cleaning the brake cylinder, we also need a good line of pressure. So we want to press on the brake until it's hard, and now we have a solid line of pressure. Alright, so we here, tire off, four-way wrench. We got the lug nuts with the wheel lock off. First and foremost, before you even take your tire off, jack stands, jack. If you got bricks, logs, wood that you can hold up under the car to go along with that, just in case. Jack stands are great. I've had them for about 4 years now. This jack is great. Had it for about 3 years. So definitely want to just make sure you're well supported, good to go, and now you can get into the good stuff. Alright, what it do, too? So I'm on here, and let me just bring a few things to your attention, a few tools you're gonna need if you're gonna change the brake line hose and you have a 04 to 08 Nissan Maxima. Let me just give you the bare basics, and hopefully this will be able to propel anyone who, let's say your brake line, which is this right here, let's say your brake line bursts or not, what have you, or let's say it's leaking from any one of the two connection points, from here or from here. Let's say your flex brake hose is leaking, your OME, and you want to change it. So let's get into changing it out and what you're going to need. What you're going to need first and foremost, and I'm telling you guys, y'all can look at that and see that it's stripped. I'm telling you off top, but it's not stripped that bad, you're going to need a flare wrench. If you don't have a flare wrench, you are going to strip the bolt like so. Then you're going to need vice grips, pliers. Again, if you want to take the nut out of your brake line hose, that's going to be either a 12 millimeter wrench, or you can use a 12 millimeter socket. So, you know, I'm just letting you guys know. Again, when you're bleeding the system, this is your bleeder valve. This nut right here is a size 8. So you're gonna need a size 8 wrench closed in as so to open it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of go in and give y'all the step-by-step on pretty much what we're gonna do to get it off. But be completely honest, before the flare wrench, before any tools, what you guys need to pick up is the WD-40 Penetrate. This stuff works. You see that? That says Torch, Blue Torch Technology. Like, this stuff really works. And as you can see, it's kind of wet around here. I've been saturating these brake line hoses for about 4 days now. So I haven't even gotten into really doing it from when I finished up everything else in the car, because I'm like, you know, I didn't want it to get like that, but that's how it happened. So I mean, it is what it is. It's really nothing else you could really do. But definitely need the WD-40 Penetrate. I'm telling you this, guys, it works. Any bolts you need to get off that's under the car, that's rusted, corroded, anything like that, but you can still get a handle on it, get some vice grips on it and get it off, you're definitely going to want to get the WD-40. So again, it's just a shake up, and it's just a spritz like so, and you let it soak. And I mean, I just been hitting it every morning when I first wake up, and then I'll hit it in the afternoon right before I go to work, and just let it soak and let it soak and let it soak. So that's just my advice to you when doing brake lines and you're changing your brake line hoses. Definitely want to lube and saturate, I mean completely saturate the actual fitting going into your flex brake hose line. So you definitely want to do the best to just saturate everything right in here and just let it sit. So I did it twice a day for the past 96 hours. Alright, so what we're going to do now that we're starting with getting the brake line hose out is we're going to bleed the brake caliper. This is what we're going to do. So you're going to take off your rubber cover. As you can see, here's your brake caliper, bleeder valve. Mine's a little rusty, pardon the nasty stuff. And this is why I said your 8. See if y'all can see that. That 8 comes in, and again, to break it loose, you're pulling it towards you. So to break it loose, you're gonna pull it towards you, and that's gonna break it loose and loosen it. But before we break it all the way loose, this is where my vac gun comes into play. Now the way the vacuum gun comes into play is pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to take the end of this rubber nozzle, we're going to apply it over the bleeder valve, and now what we're able to do is it has a trigger here, and once you apply pressure, that kind of makes a suction on the bleeder valve, and we have this little container with a two-way connector on top that allows the suction to suck the brake fluid out of the brake caliper. And again, this is without making too much of a mess. So let's open bleeder valve, but mind you, I have bled the system already, so nothing might come out, but this is what you would be doing and fluid would be pouring out. Right, and there we go. Not much left. Drained it, but you do see a little bit of the fluid still coming out. It's not much, and We're just getting the rest of that out. Maybe 10, 15 pumps, and you should be good. I mean, you're not gonna get it all out unless you leave it there for days. And I had a drain pan, but yeah, it's kind of tied up right now. So improvising, but we do have it drained already, so we're good to go there. What we're gonna do, come in, tighten up that bleeder valve, disconnect. Now that we have that out of the way, get our cap. After we take 8mm wrench off, let's put it back on. Alright, so now we're gonna go in, and the simplest thing to do is disconnect the 12mm lock nut holding in the opposite end of your brake line hose. Let me see if I can get this for you guys. That's a better angle. So 12mm, you see, get this for you guys. 12mm, getting it on there. So now to break it loose, you're gonna be pulling your wrench this way. You're going to your right. Force to the right is gonna break it loose. Now we are loose. As you can see, that's loose. You are gonna want a drain pan. Like I said, I do have a drain pan, but it's kind of tied up with my coolant right now as I'm still working on that. A few issues with the radiator drain plug, but we have a drain pan. It's just tied up right now. But that's what we're doing. So you have this broken loose, rest and old residue off. Now it's time to get to the actual fitting and brake line hose itself. Alright, so if you have the 04 to 08 Nissan Maxima, what you're going to need, 10mm flare wrench. This is what a flare wrench looks like. This is what you're going to need. Okay, so you have your flare wrench. Your flare wrench is going to fit snug over the fitting, or it should. Again, this one has been slightly destroyed, so we might need a new one anyway, but vice grips work, so if it's not broke, don't fix it. But we were able to, I was able to get it loose. Now once you have the 12 and you're coming towards you to break it free, to unscrew it. After you have this out, we'll show you the next joint. Alright, so we have the rear brake line hose out. I'm sorry, we have the rear brake line out itself. As you can see, it's out. And now to get your actual brake line hose out. So what you're gonna have, right, is you see this clip right here. This is what's holding your brake, your flex brake hose in place. So what we need to do is get this off with a screwdriver, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. And then once we get this off, we're probably going to need either these pliers or some vice grips. I'm sorry, some needle nose pliers to get in here and get a good handle right here while we're wedging on this side right here on this back right portioning of the clip with the flathead screwdriver. So let me get that and let me get in here and show you guys how that's gonna look. Alright, so since I kind of been working on it and lubing it down, it's kind of gonna come straight out for me. So all you need is the your needle nose pliers to get a good grip on it right here, and you can just wiggle it until the clip comes off and out. You really want to put that to the side because you are gonna need this clip to put in your new stainless steel braided brake line flex hoses. You're going to need that clip. Very important. Put it to the side somewhere where it's not going to get lost. You're going to need that before it grows legs and disappear. Now everything is pretty much loose. Now you see a little wiggle and the brake line hose comes out. It's disconnected. All we now need to do is finish disconnecting this 12mm screw, and removing the copper fittings, and I'm sorry, the copper wash. Make sure we get both of those off, and we have some new washers coming in with the new brake line hose. So let me get to it and I'll show you guys the end result, man. Boom, man. There's your leak. I was a little bit prepared, had my towel ready. So here's one copper washer, and when you take it out, you'll see here's a second. So what I want to do too now, we have the old flex brake line hose off. It's off now. We got the steel braided one ready to go in. Again, when you're in the kit, you should check. It's not really gonna say one is left and one is right. It's not really gonna say that, but the two rear ones are way shorter than your front ones, and you see how they're almost exactly the exact same length. It fits perfectly. So now let's just get it in. Again, as you see, we have the brake line off in its entirety. Again, when you have your brake line kit, right, as you see, oh, we have new hardware. Okay, so no, we will be replacing everything. We have new washers, yeah, new screws, so everything is getting replaced. You don't even necessarily need that old screw. All right, so new hardware, let's get it in. All right, so we have the new screw and the copper washers on. I dunked it a little bit. See a little mess I made with the fresh brake line fluid. Make sure when you open it, you keep it closed. You leave brake line fluid open for anything longer than 5 minutes, it's contaminated and you need a new bottle. Just want to put that in the air for you guys. So as soon as you pour a little bit on it and you open it, make sure you put the top right back on it. But this is how it's looking when we're going in for the restall, and I'll show you guys what it looks like hooked up. Alright, this is what it looks like hooked up. We got it screwed in. We didn't banjo tight the screw yet, but we're getting there. But this is what it looks like hooked up. Really like the look. Sexy. I mean, it's been 11 years, man. It's an 04 Maxima. It's 2015. You know, it's about that time for me to change my rotors and my brake pads. So before I do that, let me get in here and kill this. Again, be time to repaint my brake calipers, get it fresh for the summer. And yeah, man, but that's what it is. One thing I want to go over with you guys, please, when you're getting ready to put your brake line fitting back into your brake line hose, I wiped it down, and then I actually put a little bit of brake fluid on my fingers and just went around it, and it makes it a little easier. On top of that, I finger screwed it in. So I'm taking it out now, but what I did was I finger screwed it in. I don't want to get these threads mixed up or anything like that, so you're going to have to finger tighten it in and then tighten it down. Just word of advice. Alright guys, something I just want to tune you guys into too. You see how I have the socket over the nut now? It is no longer a 12 millimeter. That is going to upgrade with the brake line hose kit. The size of the drain nut that goes on the back of the brake caliper is going to be a size 14 socket, 14 wrench. So I just want to let you guys know so you're fully prepared. That's another tool you're going to have to throw in there once you actually get the brake line on there. And again, that's how the stainless steel braided brake line is going to be. I'm actually going to go and bang out the other side, do the exact same thing, and when it's time to do the front, I'll make a video for that for you guys. But stay tuned. I'm just braiding. I'm draining the brake fluid out of the other brake caliper, making sure I change the hose. Hose will be good. I'll be able to do the front probably tomorrow, and yeah, just take it piece by piece, baby. So if you were looking to change your rear brake lines, from the rubber flex brake hose to the stainless steel braided. That's how you do it, baby. So hopefully this made it easier for some of you guys. Definitely like, share, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned. I'm gonna give y'all that front work soon. And this is all in lieu to get into that infamous ABS actuator, baby. Stay tuned. Alright, y'all, so the rear is done. We just finished the rear left driver's side. That joint is a wrap. Came out real nice. As you see with the flare wrench, it worked perfectly. So I was trying to do this shit with regular wrenches when I did the right side. Understanding that I needed a flare wrench. Got it. It works perfect. You see, no stripping, no nothing. Perfect. Everything is in. Everything's good to go. So now we're gonna get ready to do the front. Let's get it.